Hi everyone, welcome back to another Cut Above with Chris. We're going for another crack at this stuff. Asgaard Casino ODIN, which is grapefruit, black pepper and vetiver. Now I haven't bloomed this, I'm going to use a straight out dry soap. I'm going to use a dampened synthetic brush and I'm going to crack into the Calv Christopher Bradley fully professionally polished stainless steel razor. Now, take the lid off of that. Terdermis. It's reasonably strong, not super, maybe like a 4 out of 10. Yeah, I'd say around about a 4, maybe even a 5 out of 10 in terms of scent strength. However, last time I used this, I lost it altogether. So it could be my nose, it could be that when it's wet and I'm actually creating a lather that it's actually gone. God, look at this, you'd think I actually had some air. I've also got the biggest, fluffiest boom mic on my iPhone at the moment. My son's broke my shelf that I used to put my little ZV-1 Sony camera on, so I need to replace the shelf, but I will get that back in action soon, which obviously gives me a much better quality of footage and it's just better in general. So Asgaard Casino, this comes from MMGP, Mr. Murray's Grooming Products. Sorry mate, I was about to say shaving products, I don't know why. Mr. Murray's Grooming Products. Look, the guy's a top bloke, reached out to me. It's the first actual artisan Scottish soap that I've ever tried. It was a little bit airy the last time, but I still get a fantastic shave from it, so let's see how we go. I've talked enough shit already. The brush I'm going to use is this lovely little, let me just give that a bit of a polish. So it's an Umo handmade shave brush. So just a nice little sort of stubby thing. Now the actual knot on it is beautiful, really soft, reminds me of like a cashmere knot without all that massive loft. Really, really nice little brush. I am going to dip that in the water. I'm just going to put most of it out and then just straight into this dry soap. Now there's not a lot of backbone to this knot, so I don't know how well it's going to pick this soap up. I'm just going to dip the tips of it, it's a little bit dry. And hopefully the soap keeps a little bit of its scent for me this time. I mean, it's not a game changer. I have used very scent-free soaps before, and as long as the shave's fantastic, I couldn't really care. But the scent does add a lot to the shave for me. It makes a big difference if you get a lovely scent. And look, it appears that there is a good scent here tonight. I don't know, maybe my nose was gone. We'll see what happens when I actually lather it again though. Now, this is probably far too much soap, but I just want to make sure I get this right. Right, so there we go. Well loaded. I am going to scoop out little bits of foam. Now this is a proper no prep shave. I have not wet my face. I haven't done anything to prepare for this shave at all. To be honest with you, I've run out of time. I've just picked up a little lazy spa, which is, for those that don't know, is pretty much an entry level spa for those that want to give spas a go to see if you like it. It seats 2 to 4 people and it is currently heating up, so I might give you a little look at it if you've never seen one before, or give you a bit of a rundown on it when we start using it, see what it's like. I mean, I won't show you getting in there with my tits out and that, you know, because that's not really appropriate. You never know who's watching these days. It's a scary old world. Right, so because I'm using since I'm using a synthetic, I am going to try my tried and trusted technique with this soap. It's going to be long, it will take time. See, this is what I mean, even just here, the noise it's making sounds eerie. I mean, it didn't dissipate on my skin previously, it just looked eerie. And there's nothing wrong with that. Like I say, as long as the lather is good and the shave is good. So it's quite dry, in fact it's very dry. And I expect this to grow quite a lot, so I'm just going to dip the tips. Paint some water in. There we go. So for those of you new to the channel, or those of you who have recently come to the channel and have never quite got the hang of my lathering technique, it is a very, very simple thing that I just sort of created, noticed that was something that I did. And it works very well actually. For those that have never lathered before, if you follow this technique, I can pretty much guarantee that you will create something half decent every time, especially with a synthetic. With a natural hairbrush, not so much. So it's currently Sunday the 23rd, just check my watch there, Sunday the 23rd. So in the UK, on the 23rd, people will be watching Scotland take on Hungary in the hopes that we can win and potentially progress through the next round. Let's be honest about it. Are we going to do it? I doubt it. We will crumble and fall and fail like we always do. But I will be up at 3 in the morning on the 24th to watch it happen. And then I'll be dropping my son off with his two best mates as they're off to Country Week with the school, which Country Week is basically when all the schools, the regional schools from the country, even though we are technically metro now where we live, but from the country areas, they all get together and they have a big massive sports carnival for 5 days. So you're in a group stage and then you get to the finals. I've loaded too much soap into this brush, so as you can see I'm painting and painting and painting, and I'm not getting the opaque effect I would normally be looking for. On the upside, it does look like the lather is starting to sort of creamy up a little bit. It's certainly not airy anymore, and maybe this is part of the thing. Maybe I added too much water too quickly before, or maybe not enough, I don't know. I am finding it very hard to get this lather opaque. Alright, I'm going to go for it now because that looks like it's sort of getting there, but it's still, to be honest, still not ready. But I'll be here for the rest of the weekend, or well, the rest of tonight at least. My weekend's almost over. The upside to this, when you've not actually prepped for a shave, the amount of time you spend lathering when you're just painting water into the lather really helps with softening up the bristles. Okay? You can even get your exercise goals by lathering. So because I've painted so much water in here, you'll see that it's just growing now. So it's actually growing quite a lot. I've not added any extra. Now this will need more water because there wasn't enough in it to begin with. Beautiful knot. You can see now the lather is starting to grow, and it is lovely and thick and creamy, exactly as I would have presumed. You can see that's quite dry. There is actually a bubble still in there. Just dip the brush a little bit. Now, as you can see, it's really starting to grow now, and I know a lot of people think, oh God mate, look how long you spent on that lather. I shave once a week like this. Now at least. I never used to. I used to shave almost far too much. So I shave every Sunday like this, and the sad reality is, as much as I love this, I just don't have the time for it anymore in my life at the moment. So I have resorted to other meat. Look at that. That's a far superior lather to the first time. Why is that? I'm going to take a stab in the dark and say it's because I'm using a synthetic. No, it won't be exactly because of that, but I can create lathers that are fantastic with synthetics and still good with natural hair, just not as good. Right, the Carve Christopher Bradley razor, probably still my favourite razor of all time ever, and this one has been beautifully polished professionally by Alan Henjakovic, I think it is from memory, or Henjakovic, over in Canada. Superb bloke, really, really top bloke. Now I'm going to pop a Paul Silver in there, Super William. I don't know whether it's going to work very well, I really don't. I can't remember if this blade works in this razor for me or not. He's done such a beautiful job polishing this. You really, I don't like using these little rubber spaces. So there we go, I'll just load that back in. Now one thing I will say, the grip isn't quite as good as it used to be because you've lost that sort of matte texture. Look at that lather, it has not moved one bit. Fantastic. So let's dip it in the warm water. Although one thing I will say, it's very grippy once you get it wet, as long as there's no soap on it. It's really sticky now. I don't know if that's part of the polishing process, I'm not actually sure, but very, very sticky. This is going to take a while because I haven't used this razor in a very long time. So here we go. I think it's got to be more like that, is that right? I think so. And I've got the A plate on here, so it's not going to take much hair off the first pass. It's going to be a proper true 3-pass shave. How does the blade feel? The blade feels okay. As you can see, it is rinsing out perfectly. There's nothing sticking in there. Obviously, the disadvantage of a polished razor is that it will pick up grease marks and all sorts of things, but it definitely has more of a shallow angle. So obviously, for instance, I'm trying to get the right angle here for you. A normal safety razor would be sort of about there. This one is sort of about there. It's just it's just what the beast is, really. And if you've never used one before, they do take a little while to get used to. That being said, feels fantastic. I am just going to rinse this out a little bit because the first pass is always the messiest pass in the sink. The more hair you get rid of, the less you get on your brush and your lather. I do like this new sink, but it's white. So my old sink used to be black marble. Now I've got this white sink and it shows up every hair. So the downside is you see everything, the upside is you can get it really clean. Just waiting for the warm water to come through again, because it's actually pretty cold over here at the moment. It's sitting around about, right, here we go. It's about 10 degrees at the moment, or 12 degrees. So it's pretty, I say it's cold, it's not that cold, but it's cold for us. And in footballing, Scotland play in the morning, but we had our first win today, so it was Peel United reserves, and second win for the first team, and the first time both teams have won on the same day in a very, very long time. So it was a big day for the club, really. Right, just wipe my hands, rub this in a bit. Just rinse my hands off. Now, I will just check this time with what looks like a bit of lather, just what the residual slickness is like, if there is actually any. Yeah. I don't know whether you can see it, can you see this here? There's loads of residual slickness now, which is fantastic. And here we go. Far, far superior lather as well. I know you guys can see the difference between that and what I created the last time. And look, it could just be I'm a little bit rusty. I haven't created a lather in a long time. But it's just like riding a bike. Although saying that, I'm pretty shit at riding a bike these days. Motorbike I'm okay, push bike, terrible. Yeah. This lather's really nice actually, but it does seem to be something I need to use a synthetic brush for. We'll see how it goes next time. Right, here we go. Now one thing I am noticing is that the pulse silver blade is really nice, but I do feel like I'm having to scrub, like keep scrubbing it through. Even though it's a 3-pass shave, I still feel like I have to do that in order to finish a 3-pass shave with this blade. Very nice blade with specific razors. It was lovely in the Overlander. However, last time I used it in the Overlander, I did end up with quite a lot of weakness. Got one there already. Not sure if I'll get any more. The lather is still melting away. Some people don't actually do this little rinse off. The reason I do it is mainly because as your brush is sat down waiting on you, and you take your time having your shave, you're enjoying it, this little brush dries up a little bit, so that little bit of moisture on my face just sort of doesn't reactivate the lather, but just gives it a little bit, just a little bit of an edge. So I know Graham, who created this soap, will be watching this going, that's the lather I know I created, that's the soap I know I made. The sort of downside to it is really, I have to take into account that I've been shaving now, wet shaving traditionally for, God, 8 years now, 2016 to 2024, yeah, 8 years, albeit the last year not so much. So I've already got a technique that works for me. And that's not something everyone will have. So when you come across a soap like this, even though it's fantastic, the reality is, if it's your first soap you've ever used, I don't think this would be the easiest soap to work with. And yes, all the slickness in the world is there, and soap's soap. I get it. I get these comments on my channel, and I've been getting them recently. People come in and saying, you don't need to buy all this fancy soap, you can just use a bar soap. Do you know what? You can. And I will never ever argue with that, because really, some people are on the bones of their arse with money. They can't afford much. And if all you can afford is a hand soap, you can shave with it. I can assure you that you can. Will you get a good enough result? Will you get the sort of result that you're looking for? I don't know. But you will get a half decent shave with it. Still certainly, there's a little bit of water, loads of slickness, loads of it. I mean, there's loads there, and as much as I'd love to just sit here and say this is the best I've ever had, it's not. It is good, and I have to say, this is a vegan product, so there's no animal fats in it, no animal cruelty in it, there's just no animal in it at all. So you are paying for something that is cruelty free, completely. There's no cruelty in it at all. No. Unless you think of the plastic tub, which is made of oil, which was once something else, potentially a dinosaur or something, then if you think that's cruelty because you're using it, that's a bit extreme, but you never know. I'm just going to have a bit of a feel. Do you know what? I think that's pretty much spot on. For me anyway. And to be fair, I don't think there's a lot of blood either. Oh, a really lovely shave. Post shave is really nice. I'll just let that dry off a little bit. But yeah, as I was saying, it's just not this soap. This soap smells fantastic. I got the scent pretty much for the whole shave that time, which was really nice. I know I never actually mentioned it there because it was just, that was normal. That's normally what I would expect to smell it all the time. I love the labels. I think the labels are fantastic. I love the fact that they are pretty much bang on centre. The side label, unfortunately, is not. You can see it's just here, it peels up onto the side here. I mean, that's being really pedantic about everything, but I mean, those sort of things matter to me. I like labels to be on straight. I think they should always be on straight. There's no reason in this day and age, even when you're putting things on by hand, other than the time restraints of it, why things cannot be done straight and spick out every time. But yeah, look, it's a good soap. It is a good soap. If I'm brutally honest, is it worth 25 quid? I don't think it is, if I'm brutally honest with you. That's a lot of money. That's a $50 tub of soap over here. And I'm not saying it's not good stuff and it doesn't have all these fantastic butters and all these other things in it, but in terms of a vegan soap, I don't think it's anywhere near the level of Phoenix Artisan Accoutrements vegan soaps. That's just a personal preference. I think the scents on Phoenix Artisan Accoutrements are so much stronger as well, which I like. That's another personal preference. The upside to this is, and it's a huge upside for me, is it's made in Scotland, so I know it's quality and it will have good water in it as well. You're not going to have all the same amount of chemicals that you get from the waters you get in other parts of the world. You know, well, I suppose this water that's in these should be distilled anyway, I would imagine, unless it's taken straight from the mountains. So yeah. But what I will say is it's an excellent soap. It's got a lovely scent to it. I don't know what the rest of the scents are like. I was sent a beard oil as well. It never made it here. Customs made that one disappear on the way by the looks of it. But look, it does exactly what it says on the tin. I've had a shave with, I've got a few little weepers. Nothing major. My skin's going to take a little while to get used to this again, to be honest with you. I haven't really shaved that much in a long, long time. My skin, I've been growing my beard for just over a year, so it's been a year since I've actually really shaved. Now, while I'm at it, I might as well point this out now. So this is my way of doing the brushes. So can you see all these little holes here, where it's like a gap? It's not perfectly uniform. That is soap deep in the knot, and if I squeeze it, it will crunch. You hear that? That's all bubbles and soap in there. So when I let go now, you'll see that the holes are worse. So really, you want to get all that soap out. You don't want to leave that soap in there. So unfortunately for me with this sink, and the way my tap is set up, it takes me a little bit longer to do this sort of thing. So now you can see how uniform it is, isn't it? No gaping holes, no nothing like that. And when you squeeze it, nothing. No crunching, no noises, just silence. And that means that your brush knot is now free of soap, and you can stick it to the side to dry. Happy days. Another little tip learned for those of you that have just joined the channel. You know, these things I've learned over the years and watching people and learning them myself. I don't like leaving soap in my knot. I don't know if it really makes a huge difference, but I have heard that especially with natural hair knots, it can make the knot go a little bit off and not be quite as good. And in some cases it can make the hairs fall out, I believe, as well, which is a bit of an extreme scenario, I suppose, but I believe that is something that can happen as a result of poor aftercare of your brush. You know, at the end of the day, these brushes, especially when you're buying badger hair knots and just stuff like that, they're expensive. I mean, I don't know how much these are, and that's a beautiful little brush. The knot's fantastic, really soft, but there's still enough backbone in there. It's not huge amounts, but there's enough in there. Very, very soft, very, very comfortable on the skin, lovely colour. Fantastic little brushes. So, and then I've had a fantastic shave. Cannot grumble at all. So that was using Mr. Murray's grooming products, Asgaard Casino ODIN, grapefruit, black pepper and vetiver, which is a take on Turdermies, which is one of my favourite scents at the moment. It works so well in the summer and works fantastically well in the winter. It's one of those real crossover scents that you don't really get. They're quite unique, really. There's not a lot of scents out there you can take from summer to winter. That's certainly one of them. The brush for today was, obviously I've just showed you that, a little Umo handmade shaving brush. Now, I mean, the only thing I will say about this is the coin is actually not dead centre, it's a little bit off to the side. You can't see that probably as well, but if I roll it on a table I can see it sort of going like that. That sort of bounces up and down. The razor, there's not much more I can say about it. You'll have seen my reviews on it if you want to go back through the hundreds and thousands of videos that I've got. It's just an absolute beautiful razor, it really is. I started off with a brass one, went on to the stainless one. I had an aluminium one which I dropped and got dented and scratched up. However, this one is now pride and joy of my den, really. It's just beautiful, high polished, high stainless, just absolutely superb. And I have noticed he's got copper on there. I think he's got, is it bronze? I think he's got bronze on there now as well. I've never quite figured, I've googled it before and I've found out what the difference between bronze and brass is, but I can never bloody remember. But anyway, hope you enjoyed it, guys. Oh, and a Paul Silver blade in there. That was actually quite an enjoyable shave, and really, for what it's worth, it turned out quite well in the end. My skin got a few little weepers here and there, nothing major. And a little bit worn, that's all gone anyway. One thing I have noticed going back to shaving is that my lips get dry quite a lot from having the soap around them. It never used to happen, obviously, when I was shaving every day. But that's most of the weepers all done and dusted. And anyway, I hope you enjoyed it. A little bit more update on who I am nowadays. Stay safe, drive safe, don't drink and drive, and I'll catch you guys next time. Cheers.